what?
Yes, I've never met Brian. This would be fun.
Oh.
Hi, Ryan. Can you hear us?
Well, good morning.
I've never met you. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you guys doing?
Doing awesome.
Wonderful.
I figured you'd have a pro headset on because you make calls so much. So you're like the epitome of real estate, and what every agent should be doing is all the time. So
Yeah, it really does help to be, proactive in real estate, being able to go out there and get your own leads and drum up leads. And there's a lot of good leads out there, that people want to hear from.
absolutely. So he is the master prospector. All right. That's why I have Brian on. It's because he is what we should all be doing 99% of the time, is filling our pipeline, nurturing our clients, calling expired FSBOs. And so I just wanted to kind of have you talk about how you overcome objection, how you set appointments, and kind of like, how many calls does it take to, get a client on the phone,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. So, to ask to answer the last question is it's kind of really depends on the day and what's going on. I think the main thing is just consistency. If you just jump on the phones just a little bit here and there, it's probably not going to work that great. But the main thing I say is just consistency, being able to make sure that you guys do a little bit of it every day, or pick a time and just, go ahead and run through it. Yeah, so that's kind of how that works. I could share with you guys some scripts and just some different angles and some ideas. What were you guys thinking about getting done? What was
I
your
would
guys'?
love that. Let's share some scripts, and then we can also do some role play. Want to do some
Okay,
role play?
well,
I
yeah,
can be
that's
your,
fine.
I can be the seller, I can be the buyer, whatever you want to do.
Sure, that's great. So if we're going to be calling, there's probably, like, I would see a really good angle for you guys would be to start, calling a lot of maybe the older leads that I've given you, or different stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of people that want to come on the market in spring. And I think a lot of realtors don't think too far ahead. They just kind of think of what's happening today. If you guys could do it correctly, you guys could probably get another 30, 40 deals for next year come springtime. Being able to.
That's a great point, because I mean, a lot of agents take the winter off, and so
Yeah.
I mean, we have a big database. So I mean, we're up to, I think, almost 9,000 people in our database.
Is that
So
right?
there is
Okay.
a lot of gold in those hills that still need to be touched and nurtured and revived, right? In the sense
Yeah.
that it's, it's timing when it comes down to it. If you're the right person that calls at the right time, and you're continually staying in touch, and then they're ready to go in a couple months, you're going to be top of mind.
Yeah, exactly. I think, we can always come back and do another Zoom later, but I think it's probably good to stick on things that are relevant to the market right now. And what we're kind of seeing is, a lot of people, we've seen those big prices everybody was getting, and now, we're starting to see the prices kind of come down. And, believe it or not, even though people are still doing much better than they ever probably thought they were going to do, 10%, 20% increases on properties, they still want the 30, they still want the 35, they're not happy with that. So I'm kind of seeing a lot of people right now in the market wanting to hold and wait till next year. So that's kind of what's been going on, the majority of the calls. So, I think that the best use time right now is probably just making sure that you guys are touching those people every once in a while, and having a good system that you guys are going to be following back up on these leads.
I think that comes down to more of the Ford script, in my opinion, right? Towards the end of the year right now. So family, occupation, recreation, dreams, right? So it's not as much real estate. You're calling to check in, you're calling to see how they're doing, hearing that they're going to wait until next year, whatever, getting them on the drip, so that way that to follow up when it comes to January, February time as well.
Yeah. Do you guys do any calling right now? Have you guys been doing any kind of cold calling and stuff like that?
Well, not cold calling, but we work our database and what's in our follow-up box. So we do that Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay, great. Yeah, so with the follow-up calls, really good. What I usually do is, kind of look at the notes. I always put really good notes down. I think that's really important to do. And, that way when you call them again, that you always have something to go off. Because I know with so many callers right now, a lot of them, a lot of the callers, they, there's just a lot of calling going on. So a lot of people, so you got to kind of, pivot yourself and make yourself a little bit different than everybody else. So it's important to have those notes and then write little notes, when you build rapport with them or you talk to them. If they say, well, my wife's in the hospital, or they say that they're going to go to Montana, or they say they're going to go to California. I definitely write those notes, because that would be what I would bring up when I call them again, to make sure that they, know that I remember them, and B, then they know I'm just not another realtor calling, that we really did talk. And I think that that's like one of the big things that gets me ahead of everybody else, is that I always write the notes down on whatever they tell me, and then I bring them back up in the next call. And then so it really makes them feel like I'm remembering them and their situation, and then they usually remember me. So that's kind of important. So yeah, we could just role play a couple scripts. So
sure. Do you want to screen? Do you have a screen share? You want to share?
I don't. Believe it or not, I'm old school. When I was like 17, I got that job.
Old school, Ryan.
What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm from the boiler room. When it comes to, like, I don't like computers. I don't like, I really actually don't know how to screen share that much. I try to stay off the computers as much as I can.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I'm from the time where you got the golden leads, so they'd all be in paper, and I prefer them on paper if I could. Visually, I like that, but yeah, I could role play and do some scripts and stuff, some different stuff that I've been working on. So maybe we want to do like,
give me the scenario, and one of us will be a seller.
Okay, so what kind of call are we calling right now?
Well, give me something that you do. So like maybe an expired. You want to do expired?
Yeah. So say like a cancel expired. I might just start up with, "Hi, this is Ryan Friedenberg calling on behalf of Kelly Lang." Then I'll, wherever they're located at, I'll, say that that's kind of where Kelly's at too. La Conner, Anacortes, any of those kind of areas. I'll just basically call and just say, "Hey, we'd seen the property come off the market, and I'll just say, we'd seen the property come off the market. And I was just curious to see if you're still interested in selling the home. If we could bring you a buyer out there, would that be something that you'd still be interested in?" Then if they say yes, then I already know that there is some interest. But if they say no, then I pretty much know that they're not ready. So at that point in time, I'd probably just say, "Okay, well, when were you thinking about selling?" And then they'd give me a time, and then that would be my follow-up time to call them back. So that's where I'd put the notes in. If they are thinking about selling, I basically just say, if your home was selling, where do you guys plan on going? Where were you thinking about going, or where were you thinking about moving to? What's your time frame? When you guys think you want to be there? What's the frame that you're working at here? And then I just say, do you know why your home didn't sell? Do you have any ideas on why you think your home didn't sell? And then once they answer that, I say, well, if anybody, basically the reasons why homes don't sell is location, price, or marketing. And then I would kind of just come in and say, well, are you familiar with what we do differently? And we'd love to swing on by and kind of share with you what we're doing different, than your last agent. Would you be open to a second opinion? And then the main thing is just kind of picking up a time and setting a time to be able to get in there. And I think that's the main thing is just trying to find a time. Yeah, because when you do the calling, you're basically just selling the sizzle, not the steak. And I don't think much can happen over the phone. So, the main thing about all calling,
I have a bad connection.
And you're trying to set up a time to do a screen share presentation, because
Wonder where he lives. Ryan, I think we lost you. If you can hear us. Oh, you're back. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Are you back?
Can you guys still hear me okay?
We can hear you. The video's now not working.
Can you guys still hear me okay?
No, it's kind of cut in and out.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, when you're talking, but it's occasional.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think we lost,
You know,
you, Ryan.
I'll tell you what, it might cut out pretty bad here today. I'm not too sure, but okay.
Okay, well, thank you. Oh, I
Okay,
know.
sorry about that.
That's
Oh,
okay.
can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay, great. So I'll just keep going here. So yeah, I think the main thing is that, you know, you guys want to put a script together. You know, I would, you know, everybody's got their own talents and their own things that they do. So that's number one, is I would kind of put that together. If you guys are calling for Kelly, you're calling for yourself, you know, it's really important that you kind of bring your special technique, your unique point of sale into the pitch. So whatever you do differently, you know, maybe you are a professional photographer, or maybe you've been in real estate for a while, or maybe you did some appraising, or maybe you did some marketing, whatever that may be, whatever sets yourself apart, that's something I would definitely bring up in the script, you know, to set yourself apart. And like I said, you know, the name of the game, no matter whether you're calling the canceled, expireds, the first sale by owners, to be honest with you, just to make life really simple and easy for everybody, we can kind of get in depth with the scripts and get really, you know, technical. But to be honest with you, you know, the truth is sometimes the easier the better. Sometimes it's just as easy as, hey, I'm just giving you a follow-up call. You know, Kelly really liked your property, you know, had some nice things to say about it. You know, she was really interested in still getting together with you and just kind of sharing with you what she's doing differently. And we were just trying to look at a good time, you know, that would work. We're going to be out there tomorrow on this date, or, you know, Friday, whatever works better. And a lot of times, you know, people try to like make things a lot tougher than what it really needs to be. But to be honest with you, you kind of just have to have that mindset that this is just like ordering a pizza. You know, as hard as you make it, it's going to be that hard. But if you make it super simple, like if I worked for Kelly and I was, you know, Kelly's assistant or something, and she had just said, "Hey, call this guy Peter here and set me up with a time," it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I wouldn't feel like I'm giving like a big presentation. It just seemed like real simple and easy. And I think when you come across like really simple, easy, casual, kind of not salesy, you end up getting a lot better results.
We're like their friend, talking to a friend, right?
Yeah, so just kind of a couple ideas. So if you guys, I'll just kind of shoot through it really quick here. If you guys are doing for sale by owners, you know, the best thing to do is just say, hey, you know, I was just calling, we'd seen the property, looks like you're doing for sale by owner. I was just curious if you still are paying an agent commission, you know, because if they're not, then what's the point of us even calling them and talking to them even further? So if they say yes, they are thinking they will pay an agent commission, then I would just say, hey, me or Kelly would be interested in swinging by the property. We're working with a lot of buyers in that price point, and we'd love to swing on by and kind of take a look at the property and maybe give you guys some ideas, some pointers, and hopefully be able to try to find you a buyer. And then when you go to that for sale by owner appointment, really what you want to be doing is just adding value, giving them value, because they're probably not going to go with anybody right then and there on the spot. But whoever gives the most value, whoever's really going to help these people out, you know, for the long term, they say 80% of all for sale by owners end up going with a realtor at the end. So I think it's like whoever feels like less pushy and actually is really helpful. So, you know, maybe like having a nice sheet that like helps people with anything that they need, like roofing or yard maintenance, or, you know, something like that, something nice to put together to make it easier on them. Maybe you guys could offer them some ideas on how to help sell their home better. Like, hey, you know, I think these photos could use a little bit of work, or have you ever thought about marketing on here? You know, and most likely they're probably not going to sell it themselves, so it doesn't really matter, but you're giving them value. And and that's what people want at the end of the day. And you know, as long as you keep touching them and calling them back. Another great thing for sale by owner is you could always say, hey, well, tell you what, you know, if you don't sell the property in 30 days, would you be open for me to come back over here and we can kind of re-talk again? You know, we can kind of get this conversation going back again. And then when you come back in 30 days, you know, now they haven't sold it, they haven't really done that well with it, so they're probably going to be more apt to talking to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the tips I've heard over the years was kind of cute. Working for sale by owners, somebody brought them like for sale signs to put it like generic for sale signs. They gave them a couple, and they ended up using that agent because they brought them something. They gave them something, and then they didn't have to sell their house.
Yeah, you know what I thought would be a great idea is, you know, those like nice thick mats, those like tweed mats that people put out in front of the doors, the nicer ones. Just to order a whole bunch of them, throw them in the back of your trunk, and when you pull up on a listing appointment, just say, hey, I had an extra one of these. I thought it would look really good in front of your house. Like, you know, I think that would be like a really, but that's what people want. They want something a little bit different. You know, they really want the value. So, you know, with the for sale by owner, that would be the direction I'd go. With the canceled and expireds, you know, just calling and introducing who you guys are and just saying we'd seen the property come off the market, giving some compliments to the property. Who doesn't like compliments? You know, these people purchased this property for a reason. So, you know, if you know, if they liked it, you know, if they feel like you like it as much as they like it, you know, they're going to want to go with you. You know, they love that. That's one of the big things I used to do when I did my listing presentations is I'd always go into the compliments really, really big, because who doesn't like compliments, you know? And so that's kind of with the for sale by owner. I usually just go into some compliments and then kind of, you know, just get them talking, give them some ideas, then introduce yourself, kind of what you guys do differently. Kelly's pretty easy to pitch because, you know, a lot of people kind of have heard that area. So those would be some of the things that I would put. And mainly just making sure that you guys are just trying to set a time, because you guys could talk for 5-10 minutes. It's not going to get you anywhere. Really, you know, what's going to happen is when you guys get that face-to-face appointment, that's when it all happens. You know, that's when all the magic happens. So that's what I would do there. And then as far as the follow-up calls, you know, I know that there's probably quite a bit left over from us, and you guys have a big database, but I definitely just be calling, you know, maybe half an hour a day. That's not even that much, but if everybody called a half an hour a day or a little bit of time and started hitting those and just trying to find out times when they are thinking about going back on the market, you know, hey, you know, just looking through the notes, looks like we reached out to you back on day. I know Kelly really thought she had a great place and had a couple ideas that she thought might work really well for that property. And she just wanted you to let you know we were going to be back out there in the neighborhood on Thursday or Friday and would be really interested in swinging by and kind of sharing with you what we were thinking. You know, something like that, something easy and you know, but the main thing is when they do tell you when they want you to call them back, you know, that I think that's where everybody misses the ball, because there's all the new leads coming on. People don't have time to be looking at the old ones. But to be honest with you, when I send the old ones to realtors, those are usually the ones that people are like, man, that was the best lead I've ever worked, because there's not a lot of people working them. And if you can keep that constant contact in with those people, they're going to go with you when the time's right, because you've stepped up, you've done it. And the last thing I was going to tell you guys too is whenever they do tell you that they're thinking about, this is a little trick, whenever they do tell you like, oh, we're thinking about listing in February. Okay, well, don't call them in February. You better call them in January, because a lot of times people think, well, this is when we want to list the home. Well, listing the home and interviewing agents are two different times. Interviewing agents typically comes 2-3 weeks before they list the home, right? So a lot of times what was happening was I would call back on the date that they told me to call back, and then they've already found a realtor. And the truth is, you know, they weren't thinking in their mind when they told me what they wanted to do. That's when they wanted to list the home. That's not when they wanted to. So that's important to really make sure.
That's a really good point, Ryan, because here's what happens is, you know, and this works on the buy side too, you guys, when they say, oh, we're not ready to buy, we want to buy next year. You should still be doing a buyer consult right now with them. You have to sell that to them, that we should still get together and talk so you can plan for next year. Because a lot of people are like, well, it's, you know, it's too soon. No, it's not too soon, because you're planning with your lender. You're making sure your credit's right. You're making sure we built rapport and connection, so you already have a trusted advisor on your side. So it's your job to set the appointment when it comes to the buy side, even if they say we're not buying until summer or the end of the year. If you actually set the appointment, they're not going to forget about you. because you actually proved value and spent the time to tell them what the buying process was like. So you always have to remember that it doesn't matter. It's just set the appointment, whether they're buying now or they're buying a couple of years from now. So.
Yeah, just to go over a couple like quick objections, like maybe in the very beginning, if they say they're not interested, I just say, give me 30 seconds. And that always goes, just give me 30 seconds. And then sometimes, later in the pitch, if they say they're not interested later, I'll tell them, give me 30 seconds. Sometimes I'll say, give me 30 seconds 4 or 5 times. I've taken up 15 minutes now, but they're still giving me 30 seconds. So everybody will always just give me 30 seconds.
And then that's the best takeaway, Ryan, so far, just give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think the main end of it is, hey, all we're asking you to do is just compare. So what do you have to lose by comparing? You're either going to find out you're doing the best you can, you find out you could do better. So what do you really have to lose? Or hey, we're just trying to make sure you get all the information so you can make an intelligent decision. Or, hey, there's a lot of realtors out there, but they definitely don't all perform the same. You've heard of the old 80-20 rule, 20% of the realtors do 80% of the sales. Well, Kelly's definitely in that top 20, if not the top broker. Or sometimes I'll refer back to a car, if you're going to be selling your house, it's just like purchasing a car. If you could get a Mercedes with the same amount of miles for the same price as you're getting the Hyundai, wouldn't you prefer the Mercedes? Well, that's why Kelly wants to swing on by, so you can kind of see the difference.
He's got some good one-liners here. I'm liking it a lot.
Yeah. So you got to kind of push them, but honestly, if you're genuine, you just got to have that genuine sound. They want to just speak to someone that's genuine. They don't like a lot of times. I'll have to just slow myself down and say, well, so and so personally asked me to. They want to feel that genuine touch. They want someone that's not going to be pushy. They want someone that's going to give them some value. And then the main thing is remember, nothing happens unless you guys are setting that time, that appointment. And that's really what it comes down to, is getting some sort of face-to-face interaction. So making sure that you're shooting times out there. I would never just tell them, hey, what would be a good time for you? Or would that work? Those are just that you need to pin them down. You need to say, okay, we're going to be out there on Friday. We're going to be out there on Saturday. We'd love to swing by. And, believe it or not, just so you guys understand the dynamics of it, sometimes I'll just say, hey, Kelly just wanted to swing by, and they might say, well, I'm not too sure if that's going to work or not. And I say, well, all she's going to do is just kind of give you some information, it'd be a good opportunity to get some good feedback from the top realtor. She's going to be out there Friday at 6:00. Let's just go ahead and do it. Now, I just want to make sure I got your information. Now, do you see how I didn't even ask you?
Yeah.
I basically forced you into the appointment.
I fucking love that. Sorry, I'm loving this.
So yeah, no problem. But so a lot of times, or sometimes instead of saying then, well, Kelly had asked, Kelly wanted to know, I just say, well, Kelly wants to swing by. Like it's like she's going to, whether you want it or not. Like she's going to swing by. She just wants to know what time she's going to swing by. So are you going to see her today, or do you want to see her tomorrow? Because the main thing is, just remember, guys, is that we called them, they didn't call us. So we have to dominate the conversation, right? We got to control the conversation at all times. And you really don't want to stop talking unless you're asking a question. I don't ever stop talking unless I ask a question, because the minute you stop talking is the minute they're going to get in there and interrupt you and tell you no. And that, so you really should be talking unless you're and you should kind of have a couple questions pre-planned. Like I might say, oh, do you already know, have you already heard of Kelly? Or are you familiar with Kelly? Or, certain questions that already have pre-planned. And it is kind of funny because, maybe sometimes I might say, in the beginning, well, Kelly Lang, I work with Kelly Lang. And they might say, well, who's Kelly Lang? I don't know Kelly Lang. And then I get through the conversation a little bit more and I say, well, yeah, did you have a chance to meet Kelly? She's pretty popular. Most folks have heard of her. And then all of a sudden they know who Kelly is. Oh, of course I know Kelly. Oh, of course we know her. But earlier in the conversation, they were telling us that they didn't know who Kelly was. You see how that works? So it's just kind of having some good game planning questions, and we can kind of get it over it a little bit more. And, I've actually put together a program that teaches all of this stuff, and it might be nice to implement with the team. But
Yeah.
it basically kind of teaches all this stuff so then you guys can be more proactive instead of reactive. You guys can jump on those phones because there's a lot of leads out there. I kind of just wish I could duplicate myself because I'm kind of to the point where I can't take on much more. And that's why I'm putting this training program on. But there's a ton of leads. There's a ton of people out there that are looking. And I swear, if you guys just call for like a half an hour, even those older leads, and just say, "Hey, Kelly just asked me to touch bases with you guys. We'd seen the property come off the market, whenever it was last year, a couple months ago. She really took a liking to that property. Said she'd love to talk to you. When is a good time?" And then get the email. Then you guys follow up on the drip. You make sure you put it into the computer on when to touch and call them back. I do maybe just a quick touch. It doesn't take much. You could just leave a message on their answer machine if they don't pick up. But hey, this is, Johnny calling on behalf of Kelly Lang. Just wanted to touch bases with you. Kelly hadn't stopped thinking about the property. She really thinks you guys have a great place and wanted me to call you back. And then we look forward to talking to you in February. We understand you said you're interested in listing in March. And then whoever's kind of there when that lead comes off, you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
There's gonna
So
be a
you
lot
could
more.
basically, everybody on your team could basically have like anywhere from probably 10 to 20 sales coming in for next spring.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
guys you get your favorite top 10, you just call till you get your top 10 or your top 20, however many you want to do. I mean, the nice thing about you guys are really lucky because you guys get to work with Kelly and she's got a great name. She, like, a lot of people know her, and it's like a little bit of an easier sell. And in a way,
Making me feel so good.
that's kind of why I picked Kelly, is because I know she's like one of the top of the top. So it's always easier to sell top people, and so the name kind of sells itself in a way. So you guys shouldn't have any problems getting in the door,
They're doing awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan, for your time, and you'll have to send me some information on your program, like what that looks like. I'd love to
Yeah,
check-
I definitely will. Yeah, and I could even come down there. We could start doing some training and stuff like that. But we could kind of really dial it down. I think everybody's just kind of got to be open to doing a little bit of it. But I think, as a realtor, everybody uses their phone. It's like their number one weapon, and you guys should be able to have that phone. And there's nothing scary about calling people that are interested in selling, because you guys sell real estate.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Nice talking to everybody. I hope you guys make a great day. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.